and welcome to TimesPro's 88th Leadership Leaves lecture on a very interesting topic, and that is CFOs and business transformation. And those of you who are in finance function, and those of you are in the in the process of becoming CFOs, I'm sure you would enjoy this one. Or you will have thought-provoking session out of this, today's session. Right? And then we have Mohsin Ali, who is joining us from UAE. And before I hand over the platform to him, let me have the pleasure of welcoming Mohsin Ali and introduce him to our August audience. Right now, he's Chief Financial Officer at Acube Real Estate Development LLC. Uh, right, and where he has been functioning in this role from October 2022 onwards. And before that, he has got a very illustrious career, and some of which I will have the pleasure of reading it out. And he's thoroughbred finance professional, right? Having done his ACCA, and the certificate in risk management, assurance and risk management from Institute of Internal Auditors, then the Institute of Internal Auditors Inc., then Institute of Internal Control Auditors of the United States, and then Pakistan Institute of Public Finance Accounts. So, the very strong academic background. And then if you look at his professional background, right, he started his career with the Khan & Co. Chartered Accountants as assistant manager in Karachi in Pakistan between 2002, December 2002 and November 2005. Right, and after that, he was the professional speaker for about a month's time, PF KIT, that's again in Karachi. And after that, he was with the Taba Heart Institute as assistant manager, internal auditor. Right, and then he was with Oxford University Press again in Karachi as assistant manager, finance and internal control, where he worked for 2 years and 9 months. And after which, he was elevated to the position of Group Chief Financial Officer for another great company, UAE, that is CSA Group of companies in UAE, and where he worked for about 4 years and 10 months. After that, he was a finance manager at Samana Group, again in Dubai, and where he had the pleasure of working for about 2 years and 1 month. After that, he also had, this entrepreneurial streak. So he was the founder of Iger Marble Consultants in Dubai, for where he was, like I said, the founder for about 2 years and 3 months' time. And after that, he joined, like I said, October 2022 onwards. As of today, he has been officiating. I mean, not just officiating, he's been working as the Chief Financial Officer at Acube Real Estate Development LLC. And coming to this topic, like I said, it's going to be very interesting, especially for those of you who are in the finance, and those of you who are planning to become the CFO, or are in the process of becoming the CFO. Because as you would see, I think the CFO wears many hats. Not just he holds the strings of the purse, but also I think from the point of view of compliance, and depending on various laws of the land. But in India, definitely different, and the rest of the world is each country has its own the rules. But I think the most important thing is what we're trying to address today is that I think all of us must have heard about the digital transformation. That's one part of it. That digital is just one. But then the bigger issue is about business transformation, and what kind of role a CFO would be playing, because he would be closely looking at the cash flows from every angle, right? So every possible lens, and therefore from his vintage point of view, what kind of role he would be playing, and what kind of valuation that he can bring to the table. And that is something that we get to learn and also experience from Mohsin Ali, as work as well as the experience, right? Oh, thank you so much, Mohsin, joining for us. I think it must be around 4:35 now, or maybe around 4:40 in your local time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Us, and over to you, Mohsin.
Thank you very much, Nagendra, for the very nice introduction. And hi, everybody. This is Mohsin. And I believe today's session will be fruitful for all of us. And it will be nice to see you guys here. And I hope all of you guys are mostly from finance professional. And my voice is audible to you, all of you? Is it fine?
Yes, Mohsin.
Perfect. Perfect. So first of all, the thing is CFO and the business transformation. In that case, first we need to understand what is the business transformation it is. The business transformation, what we have seen, what in my experience, and what it is like transforming the whole way of organizing and the whole way of operating your business things. So in that case, it's some factors are there which are required to change the way of operating. Why we need to change our lifestyle or our business style, how we are operating. If you look in past into 1950s or 60s earlier years, in those eras, all the things were manual. Then the machinery revolutions and the industrial revolutions, all this came because reason is they will change the need of the time was there. Similarly, when I started my career back in early 2000, so at that time, my training was started with the writing all these accounting things, and it was like big, bulky ledgers, all these things we were doing manually, literally. It was literally, I was as an audit trainee when I joined Khan and Co. I was doing all these things, registers manually by my own hand, which nowadays on the cloud softwares we are looking on one single click. So that is a business huge transformation. So huge, these transformations is going on. The first thing is we need to see. Can you turn please the next slide, please? What is the enterprise-wide transformation? So the need of the change, what change we have right now, why it get changed so much frequently? The reason is the technological advancement and other things were going on. So there is not a one single factor for the change of the transformation which requires. The first thing is we need to know what are the reasons why it required the business transformation. Like now, for that purpose, I would here refer my personal experience in Taba Heart Institute after my once I finished my audit training part. So I joined Taba Heart Institute in Karachi, Pakistan. So over there, all the documentations and everything was manual. So whatever the communications and things were going on, you can imagine like in some of the movies we are looking, the things are going on manually from one officer to another officer, same like that. Even in the private organization, the same things were going on in the larger organizations. So at that moment, the need of the time was to reduce the inefficiencies. So not only few or the things which we need to see, there are many factors. Next, please, slide. So there are many factors, not only one. There are commercials. Yes, this one. There in that was Tabahat Institute was a non-profit organization. It's a non-profit organization, but in the commercial organization, there are declining sales and other things. This is what we have mentioned here. But not every organization will have the same reasons. But these are the generalized reasons which we can see. It could be the one of the reasons out of that. Like at the Tabahart Institute, the inefficiencies, those inefficiencies were delivering and making the things which management see that okay, we need to have a change and we need to transform the way how we are operating. And at that moment, at the same time, we have look over for the solution. What should we have to do? How we have to communicate? Where is the lacking part? At that moment, we understand, okay, so we need to implement something, the communication, the IT infrastructure we have to develop for there. So it gets into that. So therefore, we have implemented the ERP, which changed the complete. But it cannot be achieved in a while. Do you think it can be achieved in a quicker way? I don't believe. And I have never experienced. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of efforts and planning and every strategy. The whole stakeholders, the all stakeholders of the organizations, they need to understand that what is exactly because if all the main key players they don't know and they don't understand why this transformation requires, then definitely without the help of them, we cannot transform the business and the way how we operate. Nowadays, right now I'm sitting in UAE. 20 years before, we cannot imagine a person sitting in especially in the part where we were living. In that region, it was not possible. It was not imaginable that we are living there and somebody in the out of area and out of or another country, they will sit and they will have a communication, these tools and these things. Those were just a futuristic approach at the time we were looking into movies. But now it is possible. Reason being, the whole way is transformed. That is the main transformation part. The technological advancement that push the organizations to transform their how they are operating. Like in the case, and it's a constant one. It's not a going to stop at any point of time. It's going on all the times. Like in the case of Australia, if you look, majority of the larger scale warehouses, they are using robotics instead of human beings. So those are the things where we need a sign. What are the sign and signals? Why they need these things? Because they need a constant production. They need non-stop supply. But for the human beings, that was their sign and signals that they need to transform to the automation, to the digitalization, and how it will work. Like this one case, for the Australian case, what I'm referring here for the warehouses and other things, they have so digitalization. It helps them to automation to automate their functions, and as a result of that, they transform the whole way of working into robotics, the IoT next level, which they have done already and implemented successfully. So that helps them to increase their profits, compete in the market, and as well as at the same time remove the inefficiencies. So these are the main basic factors which we believe that it is a change. These are the things where we get a signal or signs of getting the transformation of the way of working of the business. Next slide, please. Now we come to the point, okay, fine, this is the business way of transformation and these things, signals we are getting into it. But what is our role as a finance professional and what we understand about CFO? What is the CFO itself? What that position lies for? The position basically lies for who is the CFO. First of all, we have to understand that position, that what is the role of the CFO in an organization, typical organization. The role of the CFO, which we foresee and believe, is more about not about the financial numbers. It's more about the statistics, not only about the numbers and numerics in terms of accounting. Those are the part of accounting side. That is finance and accounts term we are using usually in common our day-to-day life. So the accounting is basically all we are dealing with the accounts, record keeping, those things. That is a mostly kitty of the finance manager or the finance accounting guy, accounts manager. But what about the CFO itself? The CFO basically what we know and what I have seen so far and what I have played a role as a CFO, we have to direct the organization into a strategic way, future planning, future cash flows, not only arranging the financings, but also for the planning and utilization. Like in the case of how we are getting funds, our new projects, in the case of Acube real estate or the Samana or whatever the organizations which I have previously worked for, CSC group of companies at that time. So those things, how we are funding the new projects, how we are going to acquire and how we are going to compete. The more it's about more about the strategic directions and planning, those things, merger and acquisitions, how we acquire. In like in the case of CSC group, I will refer here. Initially, when the CSC group was formed, at that time it was a two companies merger was happening. Both of them coincidentally were in the main power supplies. So they found the synergies, and at that moment, I was working with another as an external consultant to them. So I suggest then that you guys have to work as a team. So you will be compete and you will get more market share. So later on, they start working on that and they get the directions, and later on they start merger and acquisition of another fields as well. They diversify their portfolio of the group. As a result of that, what happened? They have expanded a large and they minimize their risk, and at the same time they mitigate their all the risk from the legal point of view, and as well as for the future inflows for the new industries they start develop. So those are the things which as a CFO we have to advise to the board or see executive committees and executive management that this is what I understand for the CFO role and what I know. Now we have to come back to the again what is our role for the transformation. Definitely, it's a great role because reason being we are the one who is educating the change, the need of the time. Because here, since as I told you, we are more on the strategic part. When we are on the more on the strategic part, we are not looking on the numbers only. We are not on the record keeping. That is the function of the accountants. We are looking on the how we can add value each and every minute to the organization. So that is the main part and parcel of our role. So over there, we have to keep eye on the transformations and what is going on in the market. Because at a bigger picture, when we are looking into the how our market share and how the organization can more develop and fundings can be raised and other things, whatever the functions we are doing, so at that moment, one of the part is our market competitor analysis. So those things we are also looking into that what is our market share right now. That is a part and parcel of the sales team as well. But at the same time, we as finance guys, we have to look into the numbers, whether we have to safeguard the interest of the organization and the owners and the stakeholders and shareholders. So that at that moment, we are looking into the bigger picture. Over there, we have to identify the way to improve the value addition because we are not the direct revenue department. We are not a direct where we are generating the direct revenues unless we are in the banking and financial institution. Otherwise, normal our business organizations everywhere we are in the support side. So at that moment, how we can add value in the organization to lower the cost or finding a new way out. So in that case, we are looking into the transformations in the way that how the efficiencies we can bring, what the effective communication, these some of the parts I have mentioned over there. So these things we are educating constantly. So that is one of the part. Like in the case of, I will again refer back to the Tabahat Institute, where we have implemented the technological advancement, a complete change of the mindset. And next slide, please. Complete set uh, here, the key organizations, key areas of the organization where we have to play the role. To change the mindset, because the thing is, once we are proposing any advancement or technological stuff, or any change we are transforming, we are suggesting any kind of transforming or way of doing the business. In that case, like in the case of Oxford University Press, I would here I can refer because in 2012, anti-bribery and corruption law UK was enacted. According to that, in 2012 Act, we have to all over the world it will be applied. Whoever the companies which are based in UK, they all have to comply with that. So accordingly, the way of working was completely different. Here in the Oxford case, technological advancement was already there, but at the same time, compliance role we have also. We are the one who is always looking for the compliance. Reason being, everything we have to process and ensure to safeguard the best interest of the organization. So over there, we were the one who were looking into the part of the compliance side. And as a result of these things, and a result of these new laws enacted to safeguard from any kind of penalties and the damages on the reputation or the bad impression in the market because of the non-compliance, any possible non-compliance, or I will use the word any possible non-compliance. In that case, we were the one who were educating to change the mindset first. Because who will act? People. So the first thing is to change their mindset and change them if they don't understand that this compliance is how critical or this transformation, that was a compliance transformation. Earlier in the Tabahart Institute, it was a technological transformation. In Oxford case, it was a compliance transformation. The complete way of working was different. You know how in our South Asia we are working, though, so I don't need to repeat here. So the compliance more focused now because the things are very strong. The laws was enacted very strongly, and each and everything we have to report from the root level, from the transaction level until the final take of the reporting. So in that case, we have to change. So from that point of view, and it affects not only the finance side, it will affect definitely each and every part, procurement, your sales side, finance definitely, legal compliance aspect, material management, all areas. So that point of time, we start advocating to change the mindset of the people first. So as a finance professional, we were advocating that, and later on, if we need, definitely we cannot compromise on the quality. We need to change the people. At the same time, processes also impact because some of the, like in the case of Tabahart Institute, when we transform completely from manual to the automation to the ERP implemented. So in that case, many of the processes which were undue, which were not required in the automation, because many of the processes system has already done. We don't need to make a second check. System is logged. So these things we don't need to check again. So in that case, processes are changed. We don't need a manual signatures. And at the same time, we don't need the manual interference a lot. So those things were giving change. First thing. Second thing is to change the process. Processes are also drastically changed in that in those examples, like in the case of Tabahat Institute, completely changed. In the case of compliance transformation, some of the processes that required to be changed, we have changed that one. And technological, with the help of technology, we have implemented to monitor how we have to incorporate the compliance part. At the same time, how we have to incorporate the reportings and other things. So those things we have done already. In the case, in the Oxford case, or in the case of Tabahart Institute. At the same time, in case of CSC group of companies, we have also implemented here from 2014, 2013 onward. We have witnessed that there is a lot of change for the from desktop-based application to moving to the cloud-based. Either it is the ERP, it's era when the cloud getting start, cloud computing. Why it was required, by the way? What was the basic requirement for the transformation of this digitalization? Digitalization itself into the in the form of cloud, how it works, why it required from a server base to the cloud base. Any ideas? But I can say here, the basic one requirement, one of the factor was here piracy. That was the one basic factor for the all challenges this challenge was facing by all of the major software houses. The pirated versions or the cracked versions. That was the one requirement. Like as I told before, what are the signs and signals? This was the one of the major challenge they were facing. As soon as they are launching any kind of how strong they can put, but the hackers sitting on the back end somewhere in the world. They were quickly hacking it, and they were the pirated copies within a week time or less than week time. It was getting into the market. That was disturbing the revenues, and that was hitting badly to these software houses. That was one of the reason they start transformation into the cloud. And from that part, here in this, now come back again to the point of the key areas of the organization which CFOs and the change. So in the case of CST group, here we start with the cloud over there. So why in the CST group, once they start expanding over the period of time, and as I told you, they were in multiple line of businesses, multiple industries. They were in the petrochemicals. At the same time, they were in manpower supplies, and also they were doing industrial automations. So engineering and industrial automation, trading and spare parts. So multiple and different kind of business they were using. So over that point of time, they need a one platform where they can handle multiple processes remotely without having their system, without having their desktop servers, because organizations they need the change. They need reporting lively, because here in UAE it is like life is super speedy and super fast. So they cannot wait for the longer period of time. So in that case, they need a platform where they can get the reports quickly and faster. For that purpose, they start developing their first of all in-house software, in-house platform through which they can get it done. But later on, once other ERPs and other solution providers they come, so over there they started moving into those side. As a finance and as a CFO, over that point of time, this is what we have highlighted to the management, that we need a software or we need a platform where we can give you the report lively. Because decisions, opportunities are coming quickly. If we don't lock the deal, it takes time to come again. And we will lose the business. We cannot stay in the market. It's a matter of seconds when the deals are coming and going out. If we don't have a live data, what is my future forecast and how quickly I can get the money realized, and how I can pay my debtors. So maybe the deal will be loose. The investor will go to the another party, or maybe this business what we are going to acquire, it will go to the another party because of the lack of information, timely information. So over there we have incorporated and implemented this cloud in-house system, and that was successful. And as a result of that, we have acquired a lot of companies and transformed the whole way of business working. But until that, again, there was some start developing. So accounting part and softwares, QuickBooks and other things, we will start using that the cloud. But the other system softwares and other things like processes developed, what are the pipelines, those things we have started developing in-house. So it was very helpful and nice experience over there. With the basis of that, we can see here how we are catalyst to the digital transformation. As I told, the digital here in this case, what is our role? Our role in the organization. Next slide, please. What is the role of CFO in organization performance? CFO is the person, as I told you, is that's why I start with what is the idea of the CFO. So we have many pictures of the CFO. Every organization, every board, or the person who is on the leadership position, they assume themselves that what is their CFO position. Guys, I need a 1 minute excuse for 1 second, and I will revert back to you. Yes, sorry, I'm revert back. Yeah. So why I start first with the CFO? What is it? Because every organization, every the person who is on the top of the organization, like chairman or board or CEO, they have their own picture. That is why I first start with the picture of the CFO, who we are actually. We are the one who is providing the strategic direction to the organization, one of the key persons. Because reason being, and planning. Reason being that we have the knowledge and the part and the analysis of the organization, and based on what information we have both of the things. Sales guys, they will look into the market and they will say, oh wow, this is a new product, we can start working on it. But at the same time, what is our role? We have to protect from the all 360-degree. Compliance side we have to protect, we have to protect from the finance side, what is the ROI, when you will get the returns. Because sales, okay, how much you will get, what will be the payback period, all these things we have to see into that, right? So from sales side, okay, this is a new product, it's a hot in demand, we have to invest, we have to start production. But at the same time, we have to look into that, how we have to develop, what are the KPIs, because we have to catalyst. Yes, if the product is really good, okay, worthwhile, we have to test it on it, that whether the payback period is really very nice, is it attractive, will it add value to the organization, and will it add value to the shareholders ROI, what they are getting, maybe they are getting 8 to 10%. So will it add value something or not? Will it at the end of the day, at the bottom line, we will get any positive results? So at that moment, we have to start as a catalyst. Even if, let's say, if one organization is running very smoothly, like some of the brands which we are using in the FMCG sector on daily basis, they are since our forefathers, like 5, 6 decades, they are continue running. But at this, we have to look from that organization, that whether these organizations need to change, they are ready to embrace the change, or CFO of those organizations, they will play the catalyst role. That okay, now these things we have to rebrand, we have to re-look into that. So in that case, those those for those organizations, we are as a catalyst. Like in the case of Acube, I can say here. Here we start the foundation for Acube is in the development side. Yes, it's new, but in the industry, in a market, they are very long. They are very old. Around 2, 3 decades they are here. So for the developer side and developer segment, I worked as a catalyst to first I developed the whole process along with the senior management, along with the board, that how the things will work. First, map it out. As a catalyst over there, I have worked to ensure the compliance at each level and each part. to safeguard the interest of the organization. For that purpose, stewardship definitely we need. And with even at some point of time, we have to strongly disagree with the board. And for that purpose, we need a stewardship qualities and a strategies. And we have to define and explain. We have to justify ourselves why we need this strategy. What is the purpose of this strategy? Then only we can explain and we can operate that. And all these things, let's say, we have done. We have defined everything, but at the end, if we don't operate this whole the strategy and everything, then in that case, will our strategy will work? Definitely, answer is no, zero. End product. Then what we have to do? Definitely, the ownership to operate all this structure in on the CF side. We have to implement. We have to ensure the implementation of our strategy and what efforts we have added are all in a right direction so that only we can see the end product and the results. This is what the transformation it is. And at the same time, we can see the digital side of the transformation. Here, in the case of digital application and the automation. As I told you before, in the CSC group of companies where I worked before, we transformed the whole way into digital world. The reason being, we were operating in multiple countries, not in a single country even, not in a single geographical location. So over there, we were working like we have a branches in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, and UAE. Definitely, it was our base. Germany, yes, we had also back in Pakistan. One of the remote location was there. So over there, digitalization was critical and extremely necessary for us. Without that, and one part of the that was our data automation, how we are doing automated works. For that purpose, we acquired the whole engineering department and the engineering industry. So in that case, we were doing the automations for the computing IT side as well as from the industrial automation. Then we later on moved to the industrial automation as well, at the robotics and silo and warehousing and all those things. So over there, we need, and the next level is definitely the artificial intelligence we have going on. So in the case of all this business transformation, the conclusion of this whole our debate and the today's session is what I understand. And if I can summarize, it is like the CFO is a critical part and the key important aspect of the whole transformation. Because and sometime in my own experience, we are the one who are suggesting the transformation to get on. Like in CSC group, I was the one who was recommending to transform whole way of operations. Otherwise, how you will monitor? Then, as a part of that, as a part of this result, we have hired a person. We have hired at a GM level who was sitting in Canada remotely. He was monitoring, and nowadays we can see Airbnb and other organizations. They are all working remotely. Avantio, the whole hospitality industry, their plugins and everything they are doing. Next slide, please. So in the case of data application, automation, and artificial intelligence, you can see, I will take here quickly the example of Avantio. They are the one platform where they are combining whole reports into cloud. And at the same time, how they are working, they are operating remotely. Their whole team is working around the world. There is no physical office for them. Or physical office, maybe they registered only just for the legal purpose. That's it. So, what is this catalyst for the digital transformation? The need of the time and the finance. Finance function is also operating remotely. Or reason being, all digitalized. They don't need a physical office at all. So that is a main key aspect of the data application and the automation, how they have worked. Automation is not only about the IT or accounting part, it's about the way of working as well. And in the beginning, I give you the example of the Australian warehouses, where the all warehousing is done by the robots. Even in the Saudi Arabia, there we have implemented the whole silo warehouse automations. Over there, all the things are remotely you don't need a human persons to maintain the warehousing of the floors and other warehousing facilities. So those are based on multiple things like artificial intelligence at the same time, automations and other things. So these things are the one which finance guys, we need to upgrade ourselves with the advancement. At the same time, if we don't have upgrades and advancement, it cannot be a part of the transformation. And change, it's another word of change. If we don't embrace the change, it will not work. We will get out obsolete, out of the market. Now the next level is coming for us: digital currency, digital digitalization of the currency, no paper money at all, cryptos, fintechs, all these payout solutions. Yesterday, I had a meeting with some of the payout guys, and it was very surprising that they can start within a few hours. They can provide us solutions for which we are going to the traditional banks. It's taking months and months, and literally, I was very much surprised with them. That and it's all legally compliant, 100%, all transparent, and payout time within the days. We don't need to wait for the 10 days or 20 days to get our payouts. So these things are digital transformation. Why? How they can do? What is the purpose? What is the reason behind it? Simple. Data application, automations. They are using all these things on the back end for enhance the efficiencies. The one first slide which I have shared, the first thing was what? Technology. What is the need? Need of the time, technology. Technology is getting changed every day. My father was a banker. He was a lawyer in Acube Bank, Pakistan. I was used to sometime when I was a small kid, because since I don't know, it's my nature or something. Since child, I cannot remain idle. So sometime when I have a school vacation, I say, "Papa, bring me over." I saw there are a lot of bundles and bundles of the papers, and one IT guy is sitting and he's helping them. Back in 30 years before, I'm talking about. So those eras from that side until now, the change is constantly happening. All these things getting eliminated. Before that, they were doing like a manual things, everything. No computer at all. We know all the histories. I don't want to repeat it here. So the thing or the objective to tell you is the digital transformation and constant getting update in the market is critical for CFO to remain alive in the market. At the same time, we as CFO, as I told you, that we need to be embrace the change. Sometimes change, if it is not there, we have to remain proactive. What is new going on? How we can add value? Like as I give you the example of my yesterday meeting, the digitalization. Oh wow, okay, we bank transfer taking 1 week. They are sending without having any additional cost. And from one part of the world to another part, it will take within a day or 2 days. Oh, wow, that's very nice. Or maybe less than that. So these things is coming with the passage of time that we need to remain active in the market and in the world of information, that what is new going on, and we have to keep update ourselves, our skills. I believe with this, Mr. Nagendra, we can have we can do any other.
Yes, Mohsin.
Yeah, I think with that we can start with the question answer or other
Very
things.
good. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. If your participants have any questions or
Yeah.
something.
I think we have quite a few questions, but let me take the first one. And depending on the time, we'll go ahead. The first question is from Mr. Sarfaraz Nawaz. His question is, what are the transformations and what strategic decisions are taken practically to improve in financial field? Because every month or 6 months, you come to same point of a stand where you provided some good decision last month. Thank you, Sarfaraz.
So the question what he is asking that what are the inefficiencies, how we can remove the inefficiencies, Sarfraz? Is it correct that
No, his question is what are the transformation and strategic decisions are taken practically to improve in the financial field? Because what he's also asking is that because every 6 months you take a decision or right, and then and you come to the same point maybe after a few days again you come to the same point because like you rightly said sometime back, Mohsin, because it's continuously evolving, right? And then there is always something called as a competitive convergence. Because the moment you implement something, the rest of the world will see it, and they will take time. Earlier, maybe they used to take about 2 3 years, but now because of this digitalization or because of this social media and other things, the information is getting what is it, cascading very soon. I mean, in no time, right? For example.
yeah.
Get the chips, right? The moment Intel used to launch its chips or microprocessor in the United States, by the time they used to reach the rest of the world, maybe about 6 8 years. But now that's not the case because simultaneously you're able to do it. So that's I think is question, Sarfraz.
Yeah. So here in this case, Sarfraz, it's a nice question to you from your side. Earlier, we were doing like in the case, as I told you before, when I started my career, it was like a bulky books and other things. Then after the desktop application, some of the applications which were very famous at that time, Peachtree and other things, Sage, the earlier name of the Sage. So those things were developed. We implemented it. Yeah, earlier it was taking a lot of time and cost. And right now, as Mr. Nagendra, Dr. Nagendra told, that it's taking not so much time. Change is getting very fast. So here now the cost of implementation nationwide, it is also high. Is still yes, it is high, but we have to look for the future forward. That how fast and how what could be the next 2 3 years? What would be our requirement? Not every change is necessary to incorporate in our business line. Let's say in one newspaper industry, just an example, a hypothetical example I'm giving you, and newspaper industry, they have they are now going through the here in this area, in this geographical location, they are going through the digitalization. So their physical supply of the paper is less and it's getting reduced or declining. So they have to think forward from the 2 3 years next time that whether they will need the change or not, or what change they will require. Like we can witness in the case of COVID, after the COVID 2020, here I will say thanks to the COVID that we get more on the digitalization and the online meetings. Otherwise, before that, we were so much not so frequent. We were doing, but not so very fast. Now, every year, okay, you don't have a time, you can get it. So again, come back to your question that after every 6 months, that for from that point of view, we have to see whether we need those change or not in our specific industry and our after the one level of the dynamic is at the industry level dynamic. Another dynamic is your own business dynamic. So let's say if I'm saying talking about the developer side segment. So at developer segment, I can say developer dynamic itself. And another then next layer will become whether my organization will need this or not. It will be depend on my own future forecast and future strategy that how much growth I can able to absorb. I can means here my company is able to absorb. So according to that, I will implement the best solution. So I will not need to implement maybe let's say in next 6 months there is a one another new digital revolution is coming. Let's say any on fingertips we can have a new strategy or any other, let's say, whatever that it is. But do we need to implement in our organization? Yes, but my competitor, maybe they need to implement because they have a, let's say, 6,000 projects or 600 projects at a time. But for my case, maybe I have a 60 only. So in 60, whatever existing my incorporated strategy, I don't need to change in the 6 month time. So if we think from that point of view, that okay, every change doesn't need, like let's say, just as example, and that was an industry example. We can take an example of another one, our own personal life. When how frequent we are changing the mobile every year, there's one new model of the iPhone. Are we all changing the new iPhone? No, definitely. So reason being, my work is already iPhone 14 can work up to next 2 3 years. Then why I have to upgrade unless it is critical to me? So that is the main, I can say it is the best answer to your question.
Great. This is a question from Mr. Samuel Prasad Appadurai, and his question is, dear sir, in your opinion, what is the gap in CFOs of UAE and CFOs of Southeast Asia? What needs to be updated or upgraded? Thank you, Samuel.
uh, I just recently, last month, I was in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, actually, and I have some business meetings over there for my personal as a eager Marvel company, and also it was my vacation basically. So I have visited them a lot, and Malaysia and Singapore on these sites I have seen. So not all the Southeast Asia, I will say, the CFO and the difference between the CFO of the UAE and those countries, those region, I can say. Like, see, every country have their own dynamics. At country level, we see here in UAE, the lifestyle within our 7 states, every state have a different lifestyle. Every state have a different business dynamics because of the legal requirements and laws and regulations. Eh, Same like that, and because of this, the UAE dynamics are completely different than the Southeast Asia or any other business market. Because market dynamic itself is changed. Regulation requirements, how the business is getting operate. Here, majority of the population is expat. Approximate 80 to 90% of the expats. So the preference of the customer is completely different. And once the customer preference is different, the business preference is itself also different. The business is more focused on how more and how fast they can generate the revenues and profits. But whereas back into the Southeast Asia, we can see they are more peaceful because they are peaceful means in the sense, sorry, in the sense that they are more calm, they are more developed in the sense their lifestyle and changing is not as fast as UAE because their population is more on their locals first. Second, their preference, customer preference, because all these things come up from the customer, from the root itself. Because from that point is reflecting to the higher level of the organization itself. Because how the customer is behaving and how the organization is reacting. Because organization is reacting basically to the customer requirements and the needs. So that is why the organization's way of working, organization's way of how they're doing fast is reflecting ultimately the customer's need. So customer in Indonesia, what I have seen, they are more into their own life, enjoying and like our own, like Pakistan and India and Bangladesh, these countries. Reason being, they are not expats. They are residents there. They are the nationals over there. So the organizations are also reflecting the same thing over there. They are also not so fast. They are not in so rush. So it's depend on the country dynamic. But at the same time, if you look into Singapore, they are more on like I can say closer to the UAE because more of the population are digitalization, focused on digitalization, and the experts are there. In Malaysia also more or less same case. But on the other hand, in the Philippines, They are more like in Indonesians, because reason being, there are more populations in the residents and locals. So it depends on the country itself also, and the nature of the residents and the people or who are the end users. What are their products? So macro level economics also involved over there, and the micro level economics as well as. So these are the factors which are affecting the difference of the CFO in those part of the world and the other part.
Thank you so much, Mohsin. I think now we have just hit 7 o'clock here. I think should be about I think 5:30 kind of thing there at your time. But thank you so much from all of us, right? And from all of us, from all of the participants. Although we know we would have loved to have more time, but I think it's not appropriate for us to discover a special on the Saturday weekend. But it's pleasure hosting you, pleasure having you, and then
Thank you.
with this wonderful topic, Mohsin, because
Thank
you've touched upon many areas of concern and also possible opportunity for any possible any aspiring or the current CFO for that matter. Right, it's a pleasure, absolute pleasure
Thank
having
you
you.
very much, Mr. Dr. Nagendra and all the participants. I hope it will be fruitful for you guys, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Thank you.
from all of us, Mohsin ji.